This week we are going to be focused, yes, dare I say laser focused, on the most important punch in boxing, which we all know is the jab. The jab, that lead front hand, the thing that sets everything up, straight punch on the front side. Now, sometimes the jab is not as satisfying to throw as a big powerful cross or a big hook or something like that, where you can really sink your teeth into it. But it is so important for so many reasons. I couldn't even name them all right now. This would go on even longer than it's gonna. But the jab will set all those things up, and we really can make our jab better. I'm gonna give you 7 deadly sins that I see all the time. I've done them, you've done them, professional boxers do them sometimes. We wanna try to avoid these deadly sins, and I'll tell you about how. So the first one, before the jab even gets thrown, it's dropping the hand before you throw it, or pulling the hand back before you throw it. Doing anything other than just launching that hand as fast as possible, right from your face, right from your cheek. Now, this is something you can practice in the mirror too. Just do it in the mirror, because you may do this and not know. I did this for many years and I had no idea. I dropped my hand and I threw the jab. You didn't do it in front of the phone like I am, and you'll see. You can record it, play it back. You'll see. It's very easy and natural to do, but we want to work on not doing it. You can forget about a lot of other things, put them out of your head for this week, focus on that. Another thing too, in regards to the jab, I say this a lot, it's true with the cross as well, it's the elbow coming out like this before I throw the jab. So my elbow comes out and then I throw the jab. There's a lot of reasons not to do it. It's not as powerful, it's not as effective. Your opponent will see once that happens. So you want to avoid it. And I can tell you one way to avoid it. Number one is just don't do it. But also, don't turn your wrist in the beginning. That's been a focus before. If you turn your wrist in the beginning, of course the elbow's gonna turn out. Instead, just rotate. Man, bring it back. If your wrist is like this, if your fist is like this when you hit instead of this, so what? It's actually gonna be just as effective of a jab like that. Don't worry about turning your wrist over on the jab this week, because it can lead to that elbow coming out. Now, in a perfect world, you'll throw that jab out. Last second, you'll snap the wrist, you'll get even more out of it. But again, that's like a perfect world. That's like extra sprinkles. You don't need to worry about that this week. Next, when we throw the jab, first of all, it's gotta have some snap. It cannot just be a tap. I realize it's not a power punch. It's not as hard as your cross or your hooks or anything, but you can get snap on it. You don't tap the back. It's not just extending your arm and bringing it back. That doesn't do much. Now, there are times where you might use your hand to do that, and you'll see boxers do that, right? They're measuring people out, right? Fine, that's a thing, but it's not gonna make your jab any better, so not gonna do it this week. You've gotta make sure that you're still getting some snap into your jab, and we're gonna talk about ways to do that, because the next deadly sin is not retracting fast enough. So you're throwing your jab out there and then leaving it. You see this a lot. That's too long. That's too long. It might not seem that long, but it's too long. Instead, get it back even fast. Imagine you're taking a cookie from a cobra's mouth as fast as you can. You don't want to get bit by the cobra. You want to get your cookie. So, bringing that hand back. Another analogy I like to use all the time, very good one, Devin used it, whipping a towel. Whipping a towel. It's that quick retraction and snap back. Number one, it's gonna keep you protected. It's actually gonna make your punch hurt a lot more, which leads us to the next deadly sin that might prevent you from doing that. It's being too stiff. It's trying to muscle or jab. You're muscling, you're all tight, you're tense, you're not breathing. That actually will not make your jab stronger. All your great muscles are gonna fight each other. Instead, loose, everything's just loose, relax, like a towel. Whip it, snap it back. It's that last second that you snap it, and that's where you're gonna get a lot of sting from that jab. Jabs sting. They don't hurt in the same way that crosses and hooks do, uppercuts, all that. Body shots, they sting. They sting, they bother you, they cause you to blink, they cause you to think for a split second. They sting. So we wanna work on getting that sting, bringing the sting, and not being stiff. Now, the final, actually not the final, we got 2 more. The next deadly sin is not using your body at all, just throwing jabs with your arm. And again, if you're gonna throw any punch with just your arm, jab would be the one to do it. But you still use your body on jabs. Rotate your shoulders. It's quick, it's just a little bit, but that little rotation will go a long way. Imagine you're pointing your lead shoulder, you can't see my hands in the way, at the target. The other thing that does is it puts weight on the rear side. So if I throw my jab, I'm bringing my weight back to my rear side. What does that mean? It means my rear hand is loaded to throw crosses, uppercuts, body shots, anything you want. Now, if I have to double up or throw something on the lead side, no problem. I just reload, and we talked about that last week and other weeks as well. So making sure we're using our body on the jab, not as much as other punches, but you're still using it. It shouldn't just be your arm, just your triceps. Final deadly sin, this time for real. Number 7 is your arm getting tired. That's really not much of a sin, is it? Everybody's arms get tired, especially your non-dominant side. These little muscles in here, right in front of the shoulder, oh, they get tired, they burn. They feel like there's lactic acid in there. There is lactic acid in there. It's gonna happen. It's, again, not really a sin, but you will find if you use some of these techniques I talked about, your arm won't get as tight. If you turn your shoulders a little bit, that will help. If you're loose, that will help a lot. If you're tense and tight, oh yeah, you're gonna burn it out. But staying loose and snapping it back will actually allow you to throw more jabs more quickly without getting as fatigued. Now, there's other things you could do to improve that even still. Number 1 is just throwing more jabs, right? We're gonna do it this week. We're gonna be focused on it. More jabs will help. You'll get more use, you build up muscles, you build up endurance. You could even go crazy. You could do like 3 minutes of jabs, just sitting here, throwing jabs, moving around, throwing double jabs, throwing triple jabs. All that will help build up those muscles like anything. Another thing you do is take weights, and I mean little weights, not big ones. 2 pounds, 3 pounds, no more than that. And you throw jabs with those weights for like 30 seconds. Then you put your gloves on, your gloves are gonna feel super light. That's gonna help. It's all stuff you can do on your own to make that jab better and to help work on that endurance. Now, of course, there's other stuff you can do to make your jab even better. It's a great thing about boxing, always get better. And if you can avoid those 7 deadly sins, oh boy, you're gonna be better than most people. You're already better than most people. You're gonna be better than most people who box. If you can avoid those deadly sins and just throw a perfect jab, they can win you fights. And at the very least, it's gonna make your workout better because it is indeed how we do it. Laser focus. Pew pew.